When we look at the Christmas story, there's so many characters that come into the story, make a big impact, and then we never see them again. And one good example of that is Joseph. In Matthew 1, we read all about his lineage, which is very important. And then, obviously, he's very instrumental in the birth of Jesus. But then we don't see him again until Jesus turns 12. And then after that, he disappears. So doesn't that make you want to ask some questions? Max Lucado suggests a few. He said, if I were to ask Joseph some questions, he would ask, Joseph, what was it like to arm wrestle Jesus? Or maybe, what was it like to watch him create in the workshop? Or maybe, what was it like and what did Jesus do when you prayed? But I think most of our questions may revolve around Bethlehem. And in fact, Sunday school, we actually asked the question, what would you ask Joseph about the Bethlehem story? And we said, provisions. How did they make that 70-mile journey? Were there other people with them? What did the innkeeper really say? Did he ever follow up? And what did the animals do when Jesus was born? Was it really smelly? Maybe, what were the shepherds like when they came to visit? So all those questions we'll never have answers to. But for all the things we don't know, there's plenty about Joseph that we do know. We do know that this wasn't his plan. He must have expected to have a son in Nazareth, surrounded by family and grandmas and a midwife. Or maybe since it was the Messiah, then this baby would be born in Jerusalem, in the temple, surrounded by high priests. So how did he end up being born in Bethlehem, surrounded by sheep? Joseph must have wondered, God, did I make the wrong turn somewhere? But what we don't know about Joseph, and what we do know about him being in this unexpected plan, we certainly know one thing for sure, and that was Joseph obeyed. So when the angel came and said, Joseph, take Mary as your wife, that's what Joseph did. When God said, go to Egypt, Joseph went. So no matter what God said, Joseph obeyed. And sometimes in our lives, things don't work quite like we expect. Maybe right now you've planned to be through school, or maybe you had planned to be married by now, or have children, or not be in the hospital, or something. There's something that you had a plan, it's not quite working out the way that you expected. So when that happens, look to the story of Joseph. And what we need to do is we need to trust God, just like Joseph did. And we need to obey. And that must be one trait that was picked up by Jesus, because Jesus obeyed. The Bible says in Philippians 2 that Jesus was obedient unto death on a cross. Jesus pleaded, if there is another plan, but God said, this is it. This is the plan. And so Jesus obeyed, and he died so that we could live. So as you take communion today, think about the obedience of Joseph and the trust and obedience of Jesus. And in that time in your life, when things aren't quite working like you expected, then have the trust in him that God will rescue you and that you will give him the glory. Prepare your hearts as we sing this morning.